Okay, welcome to the Freedom Hustles podcast. This is episode 46. My name is Andy Lehman from freedomskillsacademy.com, and I'm joined with
John Banks, as ever, from the same website.
and that Inside Income Man, of course.
That Inside Income Man, yeah.
So how are you doing, John?
I'm all right, yeah. I'm a bit poorly. I've got a bit of the sniffles.
As long as it's not COVID related.
Well, who knows? We've got a lot of stuff going around at the moment, and yeah, we're all right. Okay, all of us have had been a bit sort of rough the last couple of days, but we've all done our tests and everything, so we're led to believe it's just cold. So we just got to get on with it, really. But no, other than that, all right. It's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it? We missed one. I think we've sort of slacked a little bit, but hopefully get back on it now. Try and get a couple done before the festive season upon us. How are you doing? Everything all right?
Yeah, not too bad. You'll probably see in the background that things are slowly disappearing. I'm getting ready for
it's in like
selling the house
and room now.
Yeah, it's everything's sort of getting boxed and packed and ready to go. But yeah, just waiting on the nod, as they say, waiting for a date to be told when to get out. But other than that, everything's fine. Yes, as you say, it's coming up to Christmas. We'll try and get a couple more podcasts in, all being well. So today, I was thinking about talking about, there's two things really. So consulting and coaching. They're both kind of, I suppose they're both similar and different. I think coaching sounds more like, there is business coaching, but it's more sort of mindset, behavioral. But consulting can often be more sort of the mechanics of a business. But I wanted to talk about them because it seems to be a big thing at the moment. I was reading The Consultant Next Door. This is a book by the funnels and whatever guys, traffic and funnels guys. And basically what they're trying to say is that you can charge a premium price for sort of consulting and coaching other people to get the results and the sort of the business that they want without actually having to do the work for them. So you're not selling a service particularly. You can do done for you services, as you probably know. You could charge someone, say 10 grand to build a marketing funnel. Incidentally, another book I was just reading as well, which is by Michael Killen, I do believe, and it's called 5-Figure Funnels: How to Sell Marketing Funnels for 5 Figures. And he's on about selling them for $25,000, but not actually doing the work. He's talking about from the consultant point of view. Yeah, from the consultant point of view, is you contact companies who have a specific amount of income or a large email list, and then you go in there and then you consult them how to do this thing. So if you've got the expertise, if you've got the knowledge, and you've got case studies and results to back it up, basically they're saying that you can go in there with sort of like a sort of project, and then just sort of tell them and their staff how to do it, and you just sort of meet them once or twice on Zoom like we're doing now and just go over things, and you can charge a premium for it. So I think it's a cracking business model if you've got the idea and the expertise.
Yeah, that's the key part, isn't it? I think the key part is the expertise, maybe, and the knowledge. And there's the old saying about, you don't pay. I can't remember how it goes, but it's basically something along the lines of, you train for say 5 or 10 years in a subject, you become absolutely, specialized in that. You've got a background in it, you know enough about it now, and you've had some success with it, you've had some results for it. And then when you charge someone, say like $1,000 for what may be an hour's consultation fee, that's not $1,000 for that hour. That's $1,000 for the 10, 20 years of experience that you've got prior to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if it, like you say, these $25,000 funnels, if they're making $1 million on the back, then it's nothing, is it? It's the age old set. Whatever you pay in, as long as you're getting more back out of it, then it doesn't matter. I've only had a very kind of brief sort of experience with consulting. I have done some before, but it was very big. But the company was so big, they were making millions. So I didn't feel bad to go in there and charge what I charged, for the sort of couple of hours that I was there. And all I'd done, like you say, was talking, really. I just told them, I just gave them some advice on their social media setups, gave them some advice on their website, showed them things that, industry, like in the industry, people like you and I and other people that, do this sort of stuff, websites like SimilarWeb and stuff like that. I just talked about things like that and showed them their competitors, and they were just blown away. They were like, wow, this is, we never knew this. We didn't know about this. So all of a sudden, just from that little bit of information, really, that they can now go ahead and just literally reverse engineer what some of their competitors are doing if they want. That's probably saved them more tenfold more, than what I charged them alone if they use it.
I'm going to say over the course of the year, what information that you gave them, they've probably, as you say, either saved or they've generated the money back. God knows how many times, probably even both. So I mean, let's be very sort of safe. Let's say that they saved $5,000 and generated $5,000 off that information. So that's 10 grand off the back of what they just paid you for 2 hours work.
Yeah.
So it's that, and that's the thing with the consultation and the sort of coaching. And the other thing as well, as I noticed, is that you can do several people per month, because you're not actually physically doing the work and you're not spending 40 hours a week trying to build up this and doing all this traffic generation. You're just kind of going in there and say, right, you want to start using YouTube and this is how you're going to do it. This is what you're going to do. Set this up, do this and do that. You're explaining to them what to do. You do that over, like, say, half an hour on Zoom, and then you're probably not going to talk to them again for possibly several days or next week. So you can have several other clients. There was one, this was I think it was a webinar with Anik Singhal or one of those people, and they were talking about there was this one guy, and he was charging, I think he was making around 10 grand a month by going into other companies, and he was a company he worked at. He had managed to generate an extra $100,000 over the year, and so he had the information, the knowledge. And so these other companies were paying him just to basically tell them how to find an extra £100,000 or $100,000 revenue within their business.
Yeah.
And so he was just telling them, and it was just a case of probably saying, like, you want to stop doing this, you want to do more of that. And so he was doing that for like 3 or 4 clients a month. And he was like charging sort of 10 grand for that. And he was just doing several meetings over the internet like this. Obviously not with someone probably half sneezing and coughing a bit like you're suffering there, aren't you? A little bit.
I'm all right. I'm all right. I did have to have a little moment then. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's fine. It's a little bit like we talked about masterminds, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago? I suppose it's a little bit like that in a way, because you're sort of, it's a sharing of knowledge in a way, isn't it? I know mastermind is subtly different because everyone's you're sort of paying in to be this sort of in this sort of exclusive club, but with consulting and stuff. It's the results game, isn't it? Like everything else, if you're paying, if you've got the knowledge to get results, if you've got the knowledge to get a company from A to B, and whatever trajectory they want to go on, then you can charge a premium for that, absolutely. And why shouldn't you? And that is why it's such a popular model. A lot of people just do it over the phone, don't they? They don't go to the businesses. Yeah. They have to sit down. Like you say, you could do something over Zoom. I've got a friend of mine, he does consulting, and he does it over the telephone.
But it's like you were saying earlier, the company that you were asked to go and help out with the social media and stuff like that, they were a big company. So ideally, you get these people, they choose what niche they want to be in. And then the niche isn't necessarily an industry, the niche is a problem. So for example, their niche could be, I help companies who are making £1 million a year selling digital products, how to generate an extra 25% via email marketing, follow-up emails. Yeah. So that becomes their niche. So they then go into these companies which are already making, say, $1 million, £1 million. So they're obviously, using digital products. So they're obviously, they're making some coin, as they say. And because it's a big company already making money, there's probably going to be no quibbling over price. You're not going to a new startup or somebody who's just learning the ropes. So they've got the money, and you're going to go in there and just show them this and the other, and they're willing to pay. And so that's what they do. They tend to target these big companies, which they can help out. And as you say, they just talk over the phone, probably over the internet, and help them out that way. It's and the great way of being able to attract a lot of their clients as well is they use a combination of LinkedIn, they use a combination of YouTube and Facebook. So, and there's a way they set them up. So like your personal profile on Facebook is that you would clear off all sort of political ideology, all sort of memes, and you would set it up so you've got your website in there, you tell people what you're going to do, and you kind of make it like a bit of a sales page. And then when you go into certain groups or certain things, instead of trying to sell your service or sell your product, you just share the results that you've got for other people, or you'll share true stories where you've managed to take, say, a £5 advert and generated, say, 20 grand out of the advert by recycling the money and doing it. And people go, what sounds interesting. So then they go to your Facebook profile or then link through to your page, and on your website you'll probably have like a free video, because there was one, I think his name was John Tallarico, and his website, his landing page was just basically a headline and a button, and you click on it and it pops up with an opt-in form, and basically it was saying watch this half-hour free video for whatever it was, and then once you've gone through the video it pops up with this button saying get my coaching now, and it was like a 5 to 9 grand for coaching, I think it was. So if you imagine doing put your certain YouTube Facebook posts and it's sending people back to your website. Let's say that you do 2 videos a day uploading to YouTube where you're talking about this specific niche, and you become known as an expert in that niche, or pointing back to your website. These people join your email list, they watch the video. If you get, say, 1 or 2 people out of that deciding they want your coaching or training at 5 grand a pop, it's
you're all right, aren't you? Yeah,
you're doing all right. But then you've also got these people on your email list, which then you can sort of work with and talk to, and eventually they'll sort of get to know you as the expert. And a lot of the time for consultants, they're actually qualifying the people more than they are qualifying the expert. So, it's like they want to figure out if they want to work with you. Basically, can you afford them, and are you in a position to be helped? Yeah. But if you can do that, you get yourself 1 or 2 people paying you between 5 and 10 grand, one-off payment or a month. If you're getting like several of those a month, then it kind of beats a lot of the scraping of the barrels, the fighting with, you go to Fiverr, you go to Upwork, and you've got all these people that are trying to find jobs as a writer. They're trying to fight against all these other people to get the scraps. I'll do your article for $5, $10, and they're all fighting. If you can land somebody who's willing to pay you 5 grand, technically, you only need 1 of those a month to be free of the day job, really, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like you say that, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of what you just said then. There's a lot of filtering out in there. Like you say, it's all about filtering out the right, finding the right clients, really. And that comes from, like you say, you get an email list that are only targeting certain people, of a certain, if they're business owners or CEOs or, like you say, head of certain departments. The marketing one's a classic one. Like you say, a company may already be making, X amount per month from an email newsletter, except they don't do any, maybe they don't do any offer bumps, or they only email once a week. Where you go in there and go, right, let's just try this. Consider putting an upsell straight away after the sign up form, and then try emailing 3 times a week. We're going to try that for 2 months, and then we're going to report back. And then you can kind of lay out a blueprint for them and, give them some ideas, this, that, and the other, and then they go ahead and try it. And then all of a sudden they've, added 20% on their,
there was
and stuff like that.
There was a copywriter, European copywriter, who's quite, he was making a lot of money. I think this was probably back in the 80s, possibly 90s. He never used the PS, the postscripts at the bottom of the sales page.
Yeah. Exactly.
And once he started doing that, I think his sales went up like about 30%. His income was up by 30%. So if you had a company who was making good money, sending out emails, but not using things like the postscripts at the end of the email, and you went in there and said, well, I'm going to help you, it's 10 grand. And then, like you say, you just said, at the bottom of the email, I want you to start sending an email every day. And at the bottom, I want you to put a postscript in and blah, blah, blah. After a year, that 30% increase in sales will definitely pay, will be worth what they've paid you for just that little bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're giving it away free now. So if anybody's watching this, if you're using emails and writing sales letters,
put our bank details at the bottom, and it'll be £5,000 a month. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, I mean, it's just sometimes even little tweaks like that. Again, like you said, filtering out the getting sort of the clients that you need, and a lot of these coaches and consultants, they use something that's known as attraction marketing. Dan Kennedy talks about it. He's got a book called Magnetic Marketing, and the Traffic and Funnels guys, they talk about it. And you've just been talking about Jeff Walker, his launch book, which is kind of pretty much the similar thing. That they have a launch, and by basically like several days before the actual sale of the service or the product. I mean, that's for a launch. You can, if you're selling a consultancy sort of service, you're not necessarily going to have a launch. You can have it on your website for the year, but you keep giving out information and content, which is basically showing you as the field leader, the expertise, and you're showing that you're doing case studies, you're showing results that you've got. So, I mean, basically, you go through Facebook, you land on someone's website, and you can see that that person has helped out, say, 20 different companies generate an extra $50,000 a year by doing 10 minutes of work, but he's charging $5,000 for that. You'll think, he's worth the risk compared to somebody who you've never heard of, who just basically approaches you with an email saying, I'll increase your sales by X and X. If there's no social proof, there's no case studies, no content, no results there to see. So, you're going to go with that person. And that's really what they're doing. A lot of it is attraction marketing. Yes, some of them probably use adverts, but...
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them now. I do see quite a few adverts out for consulting now. Quite a few coming up.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about, like, that's good on like the big scale stuff, but even on the smaller scale, we should just talk about that. So even on the smaller scale stuff, I mean, I think even for like the sort of $200 a month consulting, like just like an hour, that could be an hour call, that could be 1 hour's call, $200 a month, and the hour's call. Let's say you've created I don't know, a course platform, or you've sold some, products or something like that, where, you've got some success out of something in the past, and then you've perhaps sold a way on how to do it as a one-off course. You've sold the course for like, a couple of $100 or something like that, just as a one-off fee. So quite a low entry point. People have gone in, they've bought the course, and maybe after a month or two, they're getting there. They're not quite doing it, but they're kind of getting there. I see quite a bit of marketers now offer, like, they'll bundle it in as a freebie. They'll say, like, if you buy this course or something today, there'll be like a scarcity tactic. If you buy it within the next 24 hours, I'll also throw in a 1 hour consultancy call, and in a month's time. And that does two things. Number one, it adds more value to the product, obviously, immediately.
Yep.
And number two, it almost makes you a bit more accountable, knowing that you're going to speak to the guy who sold you the course in a month's time. So I think it's a good thing. It boosts you. So you're going to want to try and do it a bit more. But also, at the end of, say, like whatever the period is, in 30 days' time, you have that consultation call. You can actually have a little one-to-one, and you can pick their brains on stuff, and you can say, well, look, this is what I've chosen. This is the niche I was going with, or whatever. As I say, it was a basic, a sales funnel, the classic model. Let's say you were going to run some ads to a product that you were going to make, website set up, funnel it, whatever, and offer bumps, this, that, and the other. And then you could have a chat with the guy and say, well, look, this is the niche I've chosen. Here's the website. I don't know, I used one of your templates, I'm getting so far, and then you can kind of share a few ideas. Perhaps you might say, well, look, I'll be honest with you, that niche is not really going to work, or it is a great idea, but however, maybe your ads are a little bit off, or something like that. And you could have that kind of hour, and that could be brilliant. That could be a real good kind of boost. You could learn a lot from that. and it could take you from sort of like sort of maybe you're at the entry level, and then after that, just that one call, you all of a sudden feel a bit more confident, and you can go off and do some things. It can also be just motivation. Literally, it could literally just be a call to just motivate somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if you had access to one of like the top, experts in your field. That would be amazing. That would be really motivational. You'd be like, "This is unbelievable! I can't believe this," and they would be, really sending you, positivity and let's go, and trying to get you to, keep on the track and keep going, and so they can be. They don't have to be just $1 million businesses. These can be consultations with individuals, and in that case, that's sort of a couple of examples of how that could be sort of done.
So what you're talking about there is actually very powerful for several reasons. Like you said, first of all, you're building a relationship with the person who's already bought your product. You're reinforcing your expertise. They're getting to see you and they're getting to know you. And as we know, with the old boys club or the Freemasons, you tend to sort of stick with the people you buy from who you know. Yeah. If you want some doors hanging, you go to the joiner, not the stranger who you never used before. And so you're reinforcing that relationship. And so then if you release another product, they're likely to be there. But also on the same time, being the product creator, product owner, if you do that 3 hour chat with somebody, chances are they're going to sit there and say something along the lines of, yeah, that's not necessarily working. If you need any help, I can do that for you at say $97 or £97. I do see, especially in the copywriting world, there are people who sell copywriting courses and they're learning and stuff like that. And they'll say, like, if you need any extra help, if you need me to critique your sales letter or you want some more consulting on where you're going wrong, you can book a $97 an hour call. And so that is another consultancy on the back of the product. So you could probably have 2 or 3 people out of 100 who may book. And so that's like another £200, another £300, $300 off the back of that. And you've just done a couple of hours work for it. But again, like I say, that is powerful because it's reinforcing the relationship you have with your customers. And the thing is, the way things are going these days with attraction marketing and with consulting and coaching is that you generally are basically your buyers, your clients are going to be through networking, some form of communication. And that, as we said with Jeff Walker, that's everything that he talks about with his launch. When you're building a business and you're releasing content, because a lot of the companies I worked for in the past, a lot of the old companies, they try to cling on to content. They use things like curiosity and they use vagueness to try and draw people in to buy the expensive product so they can find what's in. They want them to buy it so they get access to the secret, so to speak.
Yeah. Things
are changing these days. These days they're more transparent and they're releasing maybe not necessarily the ABC, but they're releasing a lot of the information saying, this is what I can do, this is what I've done. They show the results. And then, you build that relationship. And then it's kind of people like your consulting thing, like you said there. I remember once asking you before, they came to you, someone asked you if you would go and sort of help them, talk to them about their social media practices. They approached you, and you said to me the other day you had someone ring up saying, "Can I? You wanted some website work doing?" And I says, "Are you advertising then in the local groups?"
I'm not actually advertising at all anymore, and I've had 3 this month, and that's all from
people coming to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's like I say, it's a big part of it, and that comes from. I mean, that doesn't happen overnight. That obviously comes from doing loads of good, like doing. You like to think, obviously, you deliver. So making sure that you deliver on what you're sort of saying, making sure people are happy with what they get, so then they come back, or they go and tell their mates, or they pass on. That's literally what I'm getting now, which is just word of mouth stuff. It's because we're so busy with other things and a lot of stuff going on. I don't push it myself. I don't advertise it, but obviously anything that comes through the inbox, I'll have a look at. It's worth having a look at, obviously. Yeah.
It's attraction marketing, and a lot of that is planned, and a lot of it is actually free. It's by giving away sort of a decent quality information, and people can see what you can achieve or what you have achieved and what you can do for them. So the first thing they're going to do is they're looking and they think, I'm going to shoot you a just shoot you a message or an email or a phone call. Especially if you're quite. You don't have to be doing it every other day, but like I say, if you're releasing stuff on Facebook or on YouTube every so often, and it's talking about stuff, people can clearly see that you know your stuff, and so that's where you're going to go to. You're going to go to the carpenter, the joiner who spent 20 years working and who's got his qualifications. And you're not just going to go to the bloke down the road who just happens to have a hammer and a saw who says, "Yeah, I can do that for £5."
No,
you're going to go with the recognised,
obviously,
skills.
Always, yeah. So, okay, I think it's worth mentioning as a little. I mean, it's not ready yet, so we just to put a little teaser out there. There has been a couple of books that we've mentioned tonight, hasn't there?
Yep.
Now, coming soon. I'm just going to have to blow my nose again. Excuse me.
I'll fill the void with a bit of noise while you're doing that.
All right. So coming soon, there's going to be a little competition, isn't there? We're going to be giving away quite a lot of stuff. This definitely is in it. There's there's going to be a load of really amazing content going out, and we're going to be giving away a big bundle of goodies. So watch this space. I can't really say anything else about it at the moment, but stay tuned. If you listen to any of this stuff, or if you go on the website, you'll find out at some point. I'm sure. So that's. I mean, I don't know really what else to add. Really, there's quite a bit. I mean, you could go on forever, couldn't you, talking about this? But essentially, I don't think it matters what the scale is. I think the key point is to pick. Well, look, hopefully the clients come to you. That's the best way. The other way is obviously for you to kind of pick your clients and sort of filter out. You know, if you've got a specialist subject, in like when you talked about then, if you were, if you specialised in increasing revenue on email newsletters or something like that, then obviously you go after companies that are already making a lot of money from email newsletters. And so on and so forth. Or if you're it's a bit more low key, a bit more sort of entry level, then it could be just on the sort of one-to-one stuff, which we just talked about just then. Perhaps you've sold someone a course or a book, or a guide of some sort on how to do something. And maybe after a couple of months they're struggling a bit, then you could always do the upsell of let's jump on a call together, and we'll see if we can work someone out. But yeah, there's plenty of angles to take it.
You should never be afraid of charging for what especially if it's going to benefit somebody else's life. I mean, it's nice when people give stuff for free and everybody helps everybody, and but that's never going to be a sort of utopian mankind. You have to basically, as they say, put food on the table, and if you're helping somebody and you're giving them massive results, then there's no reason why you should not be rewarded for that. If you're taking away somebody's pain or giving them the sort of the pleasure that they want, sort of being able to get out of work, if you help them fast track themselves to a point where they're financially free, then why should you not be rewarded? But like you say, you can start small. It all depends on what you know. But I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of people, they want to find ways to make money and this, that, and the other, and there's so many different methods out there. But sometimes you don't realise that actually you can charge sort of £97, £97 just for having a phone call for somebody for like an hour.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a good way to get started. I mean, in many ways, why not do that instead of trying to write 20, 30 articles for $5? If you're a writer, you could probably actually talk to somebody for an hour and help them with their copywriting or whatever it is, whatever your skill set is. You could do that, and then just build on that. Basically, build a product from that. Sit down, write down, have an idea. Say, what can I charge for 97? What can I do for £97? What can I do for £1,000? List out what you can actually give to them. And like I said, you don't actually have to do the work. It's just a case of being able to pass over your information, pass over the knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this, in a non-COVID world, this would be perfectly suitable for, meeting up and doing it together and face-to-face stuff. And there's loads of ways you can do it. All right. Well, should we, I think we'll wrap it up. Before my voice stops altogether. But
yes, it's you're a bit croaky today, aren't you? A bit snotty.
But yeah. No, we got through it. But anyway, all right. So thanks very much for listening. That was episode 46. You'll find us in all the usual places. freedomskillsacademy.com. So anyway, so I've been John Banks, and I've been with
Andy Lehman, and thank you very much for listening. And as John said, keep your ear out. We have something coming which is going to be quite spectacular in its own little way. And I'll speak to you again in the next episode. Thanks very much and goodbye.
Thanks very much.